got something a bit different for you guys, man. Few subscribers asked us, to check this vid out. So we're gonna check it out. And of course, it's F-15 Eagle, the most gangster fighter jet of all time. Obviously, as you guys know, America, when it comes to like military power, man, these guys are unmatched. By far the strongest, or they have the strongest army in the world, bro. Their military budget is insane. I think it's close to like $1 trillion. You know that, Mike.
Yeah.
These guys be spending $1 trillion a year on on their military, bro. That is absolutely insane. But yeah, Mike, what's your thoughts on?
I don't know much about military, so I'm just gonna sit here and learn, bro. Let you talk through it a bit more.
Yeah,
This is not my forte.
Yeah, it's not my thing as well, but like it's what some of the subscribers have been asking us, to check out. Obviously we are very open minded. We're willing to try different stuff, So I'm gonna dive in there. Make sure to subscribe, smash this like button. Let's go.
Today we're talking about the most gangster fighter jet of all time, the F-15 Eagle. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the American muscle car equivalent of a fighter jet. Developed during the Cold War in the early 1970s, it was designed to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to establish air superiority. And being that this was the 1970s and stealth technology wasn't going to come out for another decade, Uncle Sam had to rely on good old-fashioned horsepower and gunpowder. He figured if you couldn't be sneaky enough to go unnoticed, you just had to be fast enough to go untouched. And that is exactly what they did with the F-15, because it is equipped with two Pratt & Whitney F-100 engines, totaling 19,200 horsepower, which is like 800,000 water chickens. This plane can travel at a max speed of Mach 2.5, which is roughly 1,900 miles an hour. And here's the kicker. It's not just fast, it's quick. And if you don't know the difference, I'll elaborate. You can build up speed slowly and be fast. But being quick is the ability to be fast in a hurry. And the F-15 is like a drag car. It is fast the minute you hit the throttle. So fast, in fact, that you can argue that it could be classified as a rocket. Okay, hear me out. I'm gonna nerd out for a second. Generally speaking, aircrafts need to do two things to fly. They need to generate lift and thrust. They need to generate enough lift to counteract gravity, so the physical weight of the aircraft, and they need to generate enough thrust to counteract drag. But here's the thing with the F-15, it has a greater than 1 thrust to weight ratio, meaning that it can generate enough pounds of thrust to offset drag and the weight of the aircraft, meaning it doesn't need to generate lift to sustain flight, which is what a fucking rocket does. If you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you the F-15 doesn't need to generate lift, it can just beat the atmosphere into submission. The F-15...
I mean, Mike, this is insane, right? Insane.
Just listening, thinking, what the hell?
Yeah, and the thing is, he just said this was built close to like around the Cold War time or so, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Did he say the Cold War?
I can't remember.
And yeah, okay, I'm gonna assume he said the Cold War. It's just how futuristic some of this stuff looks.
He basically said it's a rocket. Like, it's not even basically not a fighter jet. Like,
yeah,
it's a rocket in the air, bro.
Literally. Man. But like for something that's quite old, because this is what has fascinated me with fighter jets. They look so futuristic. Even though some of them, were built decades ago.
Look tiny though. It doesn't look big at all.
Yeah, even though they were built decades ago, they still look futuristic. You know what I'm saying? It's absolutely insane, and also these jets must cost a lot of money, bro. They must cost a lot of money,
can just beat the atmosphere into submission. The F-15 could literally have its wings chopped off in mid-flight and it would still be able to fly. And I can already hear the comment section now. Buh! The chubby electron guy's so dumb he needs to go back to high school physics class. That's not how any of this works. Buh. No, that's exactly how this works, and guess what? If you don't want to believe me and what's theoretically possible on paper, you don't have to, because this has already happened in real life. In 1983, an F-15 had a mid-air collision, completely lost one wing, and then proceeded to fly 10 more miles and then land safely. Okay, and if that's not enough proof that it's basically a rocket, you can look at how an F-15 takes off. I'll show you the footage. The minute it clears the runway, it goes straight vertical and breaks the sound barrier. It is one of the only planes on the planet that can do that.
Unbelievable. This stuff looks like science fiction, bro.
he literally said it beats the sound barrier, bro. Do you know
Yeah,
what that is?
yeah. It's speed of sound, obviously. So
It's
it's like,
faster than the speed of sound, bro.
yep,
Crazy.
which is absolutely insane. But the thing is, just like what you were saying, these jets need to be fast because that's the only way you can escape the enemy. Obviously
So how do you fly this? Sorry, I was gonna say drive, fly it, and then now shoot someone down, or like how do you even have to
what do you mean?
focus? It's a fighter jet, so it has to
Yeah,
shoot, so it's this quick and it's able to lock onto people and
yeah,
take them
yeah.
down, which is a madness to me.
I,
But
I
yeah,
think I think the speed is mostly to escape the enemy. Basically, I think that's why speed is so important because I don't think they had stealth. Don't quote me, guys. I'm just speculating right here. I don't think they had stealth technology back then. So their best way to like protect themselves or protect the pilot or the plane or the jet. So I said the plane, the jet is to be as quick as possible so that they can escape the enemy. Relatively quickly. But now with the B-2 bomber, do you know the B-2 bomber, Mike? The B-2 bomber is like the most
yeah.
expensive the most expensive jet. I think I don't know. I don't know if it's the most expensive jet ever made, but it's definitely up there. It costs about 2 billion, bro, Mike, to build basically. Just one of them, by the way, $2 billion. And the B-2 bombers were used to destroy Iran's nuclear facility. So this bomb could literally drop bombs that can dig through the ground. So like if you have a bunker underground, Mike, that freaking B-2 bomber could drop a bomb that can go underground and destroy whatever stuff you got underground. It can destroy basically, which is crazy.
Well, even if it is that fast, common sense dictates that they had to make a bunch of design compromises, and I bet the F-15 has hardly any firepower because of it. You know what? For once, you're right. That is what common sense would dictate, because that's what every other country does. If they want to go really fast, they either have to sacrifice firepower or maneuverability. However, here's what you're not taking into consideration. This is America. We don't make cents. We make dollars, and this thing has more firepower than any other fighter jet in the American fleet. Yeah, more bombs, more missiles, and on the off chance that isn't enough, it's also equipped with an M61 Vulcan 20mm Gatling cannon in case it needs to tell somebody to get fucked at 6,000 rounds per minute. So just so we're all on the same page, even though the F-15 is over 50 years old, it is still the fastest and most heavily armed fighter jet in the American fleet. And did I mention that it can also go like 3,000 miles without needing to refuel? Meaning that it's also extremely versatile logistically speaking, because it can fly from America to Europe without needing aerial refueling. And here's the kicker, none of that is the reason it's the most gangster fighter jet of all time. It's the most gangster fighter jet of all time because this thing is the epitome of a pro gamer move. It has a real world combat record of 104-0. It is down to 104 enemy aircraft that have been shot down 0 times in return. It is the only aircraft to lose a wing, continue flying, and land safely. It's the only.
That's a very important feature though, to lose a wing and continue flying, right? Because if you get bombed in the sky and lose a wing, like it could still
we
fly
can't
to
just
safety.
go past 104-0. That KD is crazy, bro.
Yeah. This is insane, bro. Mike, I got a question for you though. Yeah. If obviously like the United States is the most powerful country in the world, militarily, they're unmatched. So do you think if the UK had the same population and size as the US, do you think the UK could compete if they were spending the same amount?
Nah, man. The US are just more savage, more on it. Like they'll die for their country. I don't feel like a lot of the British people, a lot of people wouldn't die for this country. So yeah, that's my.
So you think they're too patriotic?
Way too.
Because the thing is, the UK is powerful as well relative to its size. The RAF, even though it's nowhere near on the same level as the US, but for its size, it punches above its weight. So I'm thinking if the UK had the same resources, same budget, potentially could compete with the US. I think so. I think training wise,
That's the first time that you're bigging up the UK, bro. You're always shitting on the UK, man. So yeah, fair play to you.
what do you mean I'm shitting on the UK? When do I ever shit on the UK?
You never big up the UK. It was saying America's better, bro.
That's
You never big up the
I mean,
UK.
no. If I say America is better, it's because I'm being realistic. I'm being real. I'm not going to say the UK is better than the US when clearly they're not in many aspects. You know, so if I say the US is better than the UK, it's because they are actually better than the UK. You know, what do you want me to do? But the point I'm trying to make is the UK are well trained as well. The RAF pilots, the Navy, the military, they're well trained. So I think the training standards is probably on par with the US. It's just that the US are operating on a bigger scale. They got bigger budgets, more manpower, more numbers,
In return. It is the only aircraft to lose a wing, continue flying, and land safely. It's the only aircraft to ever shoot down a satellite while it was still in outer space. Yeah, America did that during the Cold War. We shot down one of our own spy satellites to send a message to the Soviet Union that we could do it to their satellites too. And my personal favorite, it is the only aircraft to ever score an air-to-air kill using a bomb. Not an air-to-air missile, a bomb. Yeah, in 1991, during Desert Storm, it actually hit a moving Mi-24 Hind helicopter with a GBU-10 bomb. Yeah, this one.
Whoa, Mike.
That is a 2,000
scary
pound
as fuck.
general purpose bomb, and it just hit a moving helicopter with it. That is absolutely unheard of. In conclusion, while the F-15 is no longer the best fighter jet on the planet because it's been replaced by the F-22 Raptor, I feel pretty confident in saying that it will go down in history as the greatest fighter jet of all time. And that history is still being written because America is coming out with another F-15, the F-15EX
What?
Eagle II. And that's going to have to be its
These
own...
men are constantly upgrading, bro. So this is why they will never get overtaken, because they understand that places like China and Russia.
You don't want to war with America, bro.
Yeah. No. The thing is, they understand that other countries are trying to catch up, so they're literally like 1 or 2 steps ahead. Like they're always upgrading their technology, their military equipment and their jets, and always upgrading, but always spending more and more and more to just be ahead of the rest. So they need to actually, because China's catching up slowly.
The F-15EX Eagle II. And that's going to have to be its own video some other time. Thanks for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out.
Great video, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check out his channel. I really enjoyed that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna do more vids on him. He makes some very interesting content on the American military and stuff like that. And I think also, if I'm not mistaken, I think all of these jets are made in the States. I forgot the name of the company. They have a company that's dedicated to making these jets.
They must be billionaires, bro, with that company.
For sure. Well, yeah, Mike, what's your takeaway?
10 video. Learned something new today, like I always do, reacting to this American content. So again, thank you for 1K. We appreciate you guys. Before you blink, we're gonna get to 10. We're gonna get to 100. So yeah, man, love you guys, man. And keep up with the comment section, man. I'm really enjoying that as well.
Yeah, by the way, I think the company that makes all of these military equipments, I think it's Lockheed Martin, one of the most important companies in the States. They are, I think they are specialized in building equipment for the US military. But yeah, this was a very fascinating video, man. If you guys like these type of reactions, let us know in the comments. Make sure to smash this like button, subscribe, guys. That's it.